This is Pod Populi, podcast for the people.
Welcome back to the Wedding Buzz. I cannot believe it's already the end of the year. I feel like the second half of this year just flew by, and this time of year is crazy for everyone, but I feel like it's especially crazy for January and February brides and grooms. I feel like November and December just sucks everybody in, and all of a sudden it's the new year. But those planning a wedding in the early new year, these last few months are double the crazy. Ask me how I know. Well, besides being a wedding planner and seeing it with my own eyes, I was a January bride. I lived it. I did it. I have been in your shoes. So let's talk about it. What is my advice here on how to prepare, how to handle both the holidays and your upcoming wedding and stay a sane person, because we don't want to lose ourselves here. So, the first thing that I would suggest is really to prioritize like a pro. Set clear goals. You need to identify what's essential for the wedding and what can wait until after the holidays. You have too much on your plate. You need to prioritize the essential tasks and give yourself time with the non essential tasks. There are definitely things that you're trying to put on your plate, if you're anything like me, that you feel like everything has to be done right now. And let me tell you, they don't. Prioritize your tasks so that you don't go crazy. The next thing that I will suggest is once you are prioritizing, divide and conquer. Delegate holiday related tasks to family and friends to free up time for wedding prep. Maybe this year, let someone else make the big Christmas ham or host the New Year's party. I know you probably want to do it all again if you're anything like me, but save yourself. Ask family and friends to help with these things. Besides delegating holiday tasks, delegate wedding tasks. This is actually a really good opportunity. If you're doing anything like crafty for your wedding, if your family is all in town and together, guess what, guys? The Christmas party game or whatever you want to do is now tying bows on my favors for my wedding. It sounds silly, and I'm not telling you to like force your family to do anything, but it is a good idea to take advantage of extra hands if you have family in town that is willing to help you. I did this. I remember I took this when I got married. I was still working like in the corporate world, and I took the whole Christmas week off just to catch up a little bit of time. It was about 1 month prior to my wedding, and just catch up on all of the little things. I even started packing for the wedding a month in advance. It's a lot to pack for. You're packing any items that you have for your rehearsal, any favors, anything for the wedding day. I had gifts for all my bridesmaids. I had gifts for my parents and my in-laws. So I gathered all those things and packed them up, literally put them in boxes with labels on it. So it was done a month in advance. And my mom was home during the holidays and such. My sister was there for a bit, and they helped me do all these things during, the week of Christmas, because yes, there's craziness in the holidays, but if I don't know if your family's anything like mine, but there also is a lot of time where it's like the family is all together and we're hanging around the house. And so if you have a helpful family, use them, not use them and abuse them, but just ask for their help nicely and see if you can get some extra hands while everyone's in town. The other thing that I would suggest is to create a timeline. Once you've figured out what tasks are a priority and what needs to be done, map deadlines out. Put on your calendar all of your holiday events so that nothing falls through the cracks, and then map out your wedding tasks. When are RSVPs due? When is the final head count for the food due? Final hair and makeup, head count. A lot of these things, final payments, a lot of these things they want a month prior. So if your wedding is mid-January, I mean, right now, beginning of December is when these things are going to be due. But even if your wedding is the end of January or beginning of February, the 30-day mark, the 45-day mark is this month. It seems crazy because you feel like your wedding's next year. But if it's the beginning of next year, your wedding's coming up quick. So map out your tasks now, put it on the calendar, set reminders for yourself so that you're not drowning in all the craziness of the holidays and the wedding planning. So The next topic, now that you've prioritized your tasks that I want to talk about, is managing family dynamics. Family can be amazing. Sometimes they are super happy to help and they jump in, and that is amazing. But sometimes they can also be very demanding. And so if your family's like anything like mine, they all mean well, but they invite me to 15 different Christmas parties and dinners and gatherings. And my grandma is here from Canada and she's only here, a couple times a year. So I want to go spend as much time with her as I can. And my cousins are in town and my sister comes to town and it's amazing and fun, but this year may not be your year to do everything. You may have to say no to a few of these events, and that's okay. You're not selfish for prioritizing yourself a little bit. Your wedding is a huge event coming up, it's stressful, and you don't need to feel guilty for prioritizing yourself a little bit. Again, I'm not saying to be selfish or rude, but you don't have to go to every single event that you are invited to if you're not feeling happy and excited and relaxed about it. You're allowed to say no. It's not no forever. It's not no that you don't like these people, but maybe this year is just not the year to do this. So, how to go about this? Communication is key. You don't want to cause tension. You don't want to start fights. I would tell your family in advance before these situations even come up. Literally today, after you listen to this podcast, I suggest to go the vulnerable route rather than the aggressive route and just say something. Call your mom, call whoever the leader of the holiday plans is, whether it's your sister, your mom, or your dad. Call whoever and just let them know, hey, I need to talk to you for a second because the holidays are coming up and I'm so excited for them. I'm so excited to see family and to do all the things. But I have to be honest, the wedding is also coming up and I have a lot of things I need to finalize these last few months. And, you know, most, I don't want to be too general, but most adults, most people planning their wedding, their job doesn't stop just because they're planning a wedding. You still probably have a full time job. And as much as you want to participate in everything, just tell them, hey, I have a feeling this year might not be the best year to say yes to everything. And I want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and I don't want to hurt any feelings. But I just feel like I need to focus on myself and work and the wedding and just more than just the holidays to avoid making myself crazy because I'm feeling overwhelmed. I feel like if you go, a little bit of the vulnerable route, people take it better than if you just say, I'm not going because I have to focus on the wedding and there's too much on my plate. If you say, hey, I love you guys, but I'm feeling overwhelmed and I might have to say no to a few things and just really prioritize myself. And maybe we can do more next year once the wedding's behind us. I have a feeling your family will understand. And then when your Aunt Sally or someone invites the whole family to another dinner, your parents or your sister or whoever might already be on the same page or a little bit more understanding if your answer is no. They can understand. Again, I'm not telling you to skip out on your Christmas dinner or, the big holiday events, but just communicate with them, tell them in advance so everyone's on the same page. This might sound silly, but it's really true. It's really like I see brides all the time that the last couple months they're losing their mind and their family is driving them insane. And I really feel like it comes down to not enough communication. So try to communicate in advance to avoid, stress and chaos. The other thing, we love family and we love their desire to be genuinely helpful, but often at big family parties, especially with the wedding coming up, it comes with a lot of unsolicited advice. Let me tell you, every time when I was planning my wedding and just as a wedding planner, I hear so much unsolicited advice and opinions that are just very interesting to me. As like I was planning a pretty big wedding, I had people telling me why planning a big wedding is stupid and that I should have just eloped. And I'm like, thank you for that feedback, but my wedding is literally next month. So this is what I'm doing. Like I don't quite understand even if that's how someone feels that like spending money on a wedding is stupid. I don't understand why people vocalize it, but let me tell you, when your wedding is coming up, everyone's going to ask you, "Oh my God, how's wedding planning? What are you doing?" And they're going to ask for all the details. I need to, I need you to hear this. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to talk about the wedding 24/7. You don't have to tell them what colors you're picking and what florals you're doing and what this and what that. You don't have to tell them. If people ask, "Hey, do you have your wedding dress?" You don't have to show them a picture of it. You don't have to. Again, I'm not telling you to be rude. I'm not telling you to be nasty, not at all. But you can just, politely bring up a new subject. Maybe before these parties, again, it sounds silly, but seriously, I'm such a planner in like everything in my life. Plan for these awkward conversations. What is a topic you can talk about that's not the wedding if you don't want to talk about it? Talk about, I don't know, your dog, your cat, your job. What is something else that you can hold a conversation about and kind of pivot to that's new or exciting that's not just about the wedding? Now, if you're like, the wedding is the most exciting thing in my life and I want to talk about it 24/7, great, good for you. That's fantastic. If your family gives no unsolicited advice, and it's not just family, I keep saying family as if my family did this. It's more of just family, friends, big parties this time of year. And no one means badly. Nobody means badly, but people like to give their unsolicited advice and opinions, and you don't owe anybody anything. So that I just wanted to remind you of that, because if you're a people pleaser like me and an oversharer like me, you sometimes end up, oversharing and over explaining, and it opens the doors for more of these opinions. And again, if you're anything like me, it's just going to cause overwhelm and stress, and it will cause decision fatigue because now you're making decisions. You're probably already struggling to make these decisions, and then you have everybody's opinion on the decisions, and everyone's opinion is going to be telling you to make a different decision. So, this is why I suggest you don't have to talk about the wedding 24/7. You don't need everyone's opinions, and you can make the decisions that you want to make, whether people agree or not. It's your day. It's going to be however you want it to be. We're going to take a quick break and then we will be right back. Okay, we are back, and now we are going to talk about diving in further of how to stay organized while planning the holidays and planning your wedding. So I suggest, we live in 2024, almost 2025, you guys. Technology can be our best friends. I love technology. I used to be a very much a paper planner girl, but I've kind of been shifting because I don't always have my planner with me. And when something would come up and I didn't have my planner with me, that was really frustrating. So I've kind of shifted to an online calendar person. You can make shared calendars with family or your spouse. This helps a lot too. So they can see how busy you are and you can see how busy they are. And it just helps with, communication. It makes it accessible. As far as the wedding using technology, I suggest using, even in your iPhone, if you have an iPhone, there's reminder apps and tasks. I would pick one. Make sure that you're putting all of your notes and your reminders and your tasks in one place. But utilize it. It'll remind you on your phone. You can put it on the calendar. You can put dates and times for when to remind yourself of something. And that's so helpful. Do it now. Sit down. And I talked about earlier, looking at your calendar, put things in your calendar, set reminders, set an alarm for literally January 10th or whatever you have to do. Use technology to your advantage. You can track RSVPs electronically. If you haven't sent your invitations out yet, maybe your wedding's in like March, you can do online RSVP tracking, which is very helpful. Even if you want to do the old school, like your guests writing their RSVP card back and mailing it to you in snail mail, which is fine. Like that's, probably the more formal way to do things. Once you get the RSVP back, there are RSVP trackers. The Knot has it, with Joy has it, where it's basically the same thing as an electronic RSVP, but you are going in and RSVPing for your guests, and your guests are never seeing this side of the website. But it's helpful for you. And again, you might not always have your list with you if you're out and about. But if it's electronic, if it's in an app or online, you can log in on your phone and see whatever you need to see wherever you are. I also suggest to organize your vendor contracts and contacts. I know those sound the same, but contracts. Pull your vendor contracts from wherever you signed it. If you've been planning your wedding for a year now, you might have to dig in your email from last January or something for a contract. I want you to pull your contracts. If you're old school paper, print them out. If not, at least save them in one file, one folder in your computer. I also want you to read your contracts again. Read them. How much time on the wedding day is your photographer going to be there for? Do you still want them there for this amount of time? Do you need to add hours? Are you happy with this? Um, Hair and makeup. How many people does your contract say they're doing hair and makeup for? Because they need to schedule enough artists. But on the flip side, if you tell them, hey, I have 10 bridesmaids, and now a year later, three of them dropped out, so you only have seven, you might be charged for these extra people. So I want you to pull your contracts and reread them, so that you don't have, stress and chaos in the new year. We don't want to start the new year and a new marriage with stress and chaos. So pull your contracts now. The other thing I suggest just to help yourself is as you're pulling your contracts, make an organized list of their contacts. Write out the photographer's email and their phone number. If you don't have a day of contact for these people, ask them. That's different from their regular contacts. So, for example, when I'm doing wedding planning, I do things through my email or through a platform called Honeybook. And everything is, through this portal or email. But on the wedding day, if I need a vendor to reach out to me or the bride needs me, I need them to have my cell phone number on the wedding day because chances are I'm driving or I'm going here, I'm going there, and I check my email as much as I can, but I need these people to be able to just call me so that I see it quickly. On the flip side, and if you have a wedding planner or your family, whoever is kind of in charge of the wedding day, needs to be able to contact all of your vendors as quickly as possible. They need to call your photographer if they're not showing up, not send an email that's going to go to an office and you're going to get an auto reply of, sorry, we're not in the office today. So make sure that you're pulling these contracts and organizing your contacts. Again, do it now. Do it now while you can instead of waiting till the week of when you're stressed and you have a million other things to do. If you are a paper girly, I suggest having a binder. Keeping everything in one place can save you time and your sanity. So if you're doing things electronically, make one folder and one place that you're going to keep everything organized. If you're setting reminders in a calendar and stuff, pick one spot that you're going to put reminders. If you're taking notes for yourself, pick one spot. When you have notes in your phone and then notes, I'm so guilty of this too. So do as I say, not as I do. But I put like notes in my phone and then notes in a Google Doc and notes in a portal. Like then you don't know what's what and who's who. I suggest having one place to organize things, whether it's a folder on the computer or a physical binder, but stay organized. It'll help your sanity. The other thing, if you can, is batch similar tasks. If you have to go to the mall for something, figure out everything you need to go to the mall for so you only have to make one trip. If you need to do updates to your registry, do everything at once that you can. I really like batching tasks, even in my own life. I feel like that helps me get way more productive when I sometimes just pick, you know what, I'm going to spend 3 hours on this task and just get it done. I'm not going to do it half done and then I'll keep going tomorrow or back and forth. I just block time, block more time than you think, and just get the task done. I promise you will thank me. So I really suggest, you know what, today we're doing all the favors and we're not doing anything else other than that. And you'll actually get things accomplished. And then it's checked off your list instead of running yourself dry between a bunch of different tasks. We are going to take another quick break and we will be right back to talk about budgeting during this high spend season. Okay, welcome back. And yes, let's talk about the dreaded subject, budgeting. Budgeting during a very high spend season. You guys, holiday gifting is so fun. If you're anything like me, you can get so carried away. And if you look back at how much money you've really spent, it can be shocking. I feel like a lot of this podcast is me talking to myself, a few years ago when I was a bride, when I was a January bride. And I think I did some things right. I will say there are a lot of things in here that I actually did that I think helped. And then there are some things that I, wish I could have told myself, such as not oversharing and not letting everyone's opinions flood my brain, but gifting, I definitely have been so guilty of gifting. My family, we buy gifts for aunts, uncles, cousins, grandmas, grandparents. We have so many people. There's like 25 people that we all share gifts for. And I love gifting. I love, you know, being over the top and seeing people's reactions. But when you look back on how much you have really spent, it can be shocking. The issue is if you are a bride or groom as well, the same thing happens with the wedding. You can easily overspend, and it's fun to buy this and buy that. And then when you look back at how much you really spend, it's so much money. So, this goes for the holidays and the wedding. Both are so easy to overspend, and you don't want to go into this new year and your new marriage broke. That's not fun to start the new year or the marriage off without money. So you need to be conscious with the budget. Set a clear budget for the wedding and set a clear budget for the holidays, and refer back to these budgets before you're spending your money. I would definitely try to keep holiday expenses separate from your wedding budget, but be conscious of it. And again, at the beginning of this month, plan for it. Write out, okay, how much money do I need to save for the wedding, and how many other little costs for the wedding are going to pop up in January or February, whenever your wedding is. And then how much money do you need to set aside also for holiday gifting and expenses, because things add up. Make a plan so you're not super stressed. I feel like that's the underlying advice that I have for everything is make a plan and communicate the plan. It sounds so basic, but people struggle to make plans and to communicate plans. They really, really do. But it makes a big difference. Big difference. So sit down, make a plan, and then communicate the plan with your spouse, with your family, whoever needs to know it. I would also suggest to just be, strategic with your spending if you can. If you can, if you're listening to this probably after Black Friday, but the sales are probably still going on, try to buy things while they're on sale. It'll help yourself. Also, while there's holiday sales going on, can you get anything that you need for the wedding with these sales? Do you need cute clothes for your honeymoon? Buy them on these sales. Take advantage of these holiday sales for wedding shopping if that's what you need to do. So, with all of this said, I want you to have fun. I want you to enjoy yourself. I want you to not be so stressed. Self care and stress management are really important. And when you look back on your wedding planning season, I want you to not feel like it was chaotic and stressful and miserable and you just can't wait for the wedding to be over. So, listen to me when I say the importance of taking breaks from planning and taking breaks from the holiday commitments. Focus on yourself, give yourself time to relax. It's not selfish. There's a very nice way to go about this, but don't don't run yourself dry. Don't go into the new year and into your wedding and your new marriage absolutely exhausted. It's not how you want to be feeling. Um Again, it sounds simple, but it makes a big difference. It really makes a big difference when you can go into, I see it all the time with brides. I see brides who manage their stress well, plan in advance. They're walking into their wedding day happy. And then I see brides who are unorganized and a mess and stressed, and it causes tension. It causes tension when you're over stressed. So schedule downtime, plan in advance so that you can be calm, cool, and collected going into this new year and your wedding. So, with that, I really just want to encourage you guys to enjoy the holidays. I'm not telling you to not celebrate your holidays this year. I'm just saying to be mindful of how you go about it, be mindful of the gifting and the spending. And I just feel like there's a lot of pressure during the holidays to be everywhere and do everything and be holly jolly, and it can get a little crazy. And look, I am the biggest Christmas fan. Like, I love Christmas so much. I mean, my husband and I go looking at Christmas lights like multiple times in December, and I love Christmas parties and I love all the things. But if your wedding is early January, February, this is just not the year to be extra with the holiday things. So, with that, I hope that you guys are having a great end to the year. I hope that you enjoy this time, that you are planning ahead and getting ahead with the wedding prep. And I will see you guys next week.